Hi everyone, my name's Brian, and one of the decks I like to play a lot on this channel is Izzet Blitz, and this is not Izzet Blitz, but it's a deck that's related to it. This is this Thunderous Wizards budget deck that Saffron Olive made literally years ago, and it has always had a special place in my heart for two reasons. One is that I remember it. It's a very memorable deck. I also just like Adelies here, part I enjoy, but also one of my friends, David, and David, if you're watching, howdy, actually made this in paper, tuned it to his own personal preferences, and played it in paper a few times. And when I started doing this channel, I just started doing things that I enjoyed and I thought was fun, and I also found that a lot of you guys watch these videos to see the tuning process. So normally what I would do with a deck like this is, because this is a few years old, I would look at it and I would kind of tune it to what I'm used to, and then I would begin the video at that point. But I'm going to actually show you guys from where I start with the list to where I end with the list throughout the matches. So let's see how close we get to just a stock Izzet Blitz list from this deck. But in case you haven't watched Saffron Olive's video, let me go over it. So essentially it's called Thunderous because of this one card with Miracle. And Miracle is, if it's the first card you're going to draw during your turn, you get to play it for its Miracle cost. So this goes from being a 6-drop to a 1-drop. And this just domes anything for 5, normally your opponent, because that's so much damage. Now, on top of that, because every last creature in this deck is a wizard, the 4 Stormcasters, the 3 Adelies, the 4 Sage of Ethers, the get 2 Lava Runners, and the Soulscar Mages, we get to run Wizard's Lightning, which turns into a bad 3-mana bolt to just another 4 copies of Lightning Bolt. And down here, of course, we have 4 copies of Lightning Bolt. Now, the rest of the pieces of the deck are very of their time. We have 4 copies of Opt and 4 copies of Serum Visions, because those were just the cantrips in Modern at the time. 2 Chart a Course, again, it's just what people had. And finally, just the lands. 4 Island, 4 Mountain, 4 Shivan Reef, 3 Spirebluff Canal. Fun fact, these used to be budget options. And 4 Sulphur Falls. It's a very, very basic, very, very aggro deck. In the sideboard, 3 Tormod's Crypts, 2 Roasts, 3 Searing Blood, 4 Spell Pierce, 2 Disdainful Stroke, and finally just a Negate. So let's go ahead and run this through a game and see where we can improve upon it. Now, normally I would just hack the land off right at the beginning and put in a real mana base, but let's go ahead and take a look at how it goes, because again, you might not actually want fetches in this deck, because a lot of what makes this deck as opposed to just a standard Izzet Blitz deck is Thunderous Wrath. And if you're running fetches, the moment you run fetches, you're setting up with Sage of Fear, however you say that, is undone. So let's go ahead and run it as is, and then we'll see how much we can tune. Should we be running fetches? Should we be turning some of these Shivan Reaches just into Steam Vents? Should we be turning some of these other things in other directions? Because Saffron Olive also did have a non-budget version of this deck, which I've made the mistake of starting with before. And the reason I say it's a mistake to start with his non-budget deck is it seems the non-budget versions are made but never tested. I've never actually seen Saffron Olive play his non-budget decks anywhere. If anybody has those, please put them in the comments. I would love to see it. But this deck is actually really, really tuned, and I did play a couple of games before I turned the camera on just to see what it feels like, what it does. I already know some things I want to change, but let's run one completely stock, see what works, what doesn't work, see if I just get stomped flat, and take it from there. Join me, won't you? All right, as is tradition, we have lost the die roll. Glad we keep it going. Okay, so this deck is primarily 1-drops, and this hand has none. So we're going to throw this back. All right, our opponent kept a 7. We're already seeing the budgetness come out here with these 2 islands. We'll keep, because I don't think it gets better than this. I guess we put one of our ops to the bottom. Actually, no. Let's put... This is hard. Let's go ahead and put Wizard's Lightning to the bottom, Because right now we have no red mana, and we need creatures to make that work, and we don't know if our creatures are going to survive. So our opponent plays a Sacred Foundry, untapped. Is this just burn? Esper Sentinel. Okay, well, probably some kind of hammer time. Stormcaster Mage. Well, that's not a red land. Luckily for us, we get to look at their top 4 with our silly card. Now, the thing is, this actually, like, brain locks us. Okay, Shivan Reef, Sulphur Falls. So, we probably want Wizard's Lightning second to last. So if we put back Shivan Reef, then Wizard's Lightning, then Thunderous Wrath, then Sulphur Falls, we actually know we get to dome them on an upcoming turn. Let's see if they keep dealing themselves damage. All right, so they're not going to deal themselves a ton of damage because Prismatic Vista can only get basics. Yeah, so this is some kind of hammer time. See what they go find. Sword of Fire and Ice. Oh, that's brutal. Okie dokie. So next turn, we're going to have our red land, and we're just going to want to set up for the next turn because we know Thunderous Wrath is on top. Now, we could just flip Thunderous Wrath in our opponent's turn and kill the Stoneforge Mystic, but they can just respond and put something into play anyway. So let's just go ahead and play Big Guy and just run him over the top. Next turn, we're going to Thunderous Wrath for 5, and then do some cantripping to try and deal as much damage as possible. Now, that's only going to be like 8 damage, so it's not going to be all of it, but it'll be an amount. Oh, that's not good at all. Does that just get to... Yeah, no, that just gets to put the Sword of Fire and Ice directly onto itself. Ooh, boy. So they'll probably kill my Sage? I don't see why they would deal damage to me. Okay, you insist. Oh, man. So yeah, these decks were made before Modern Horizons 2 came out, and Fury is a blowout. Ooh, buddy. How are we even going to win now? So, yes, okay. Cast Thunder. I guess we just throw it at our opponent's head. Yeah, we're going to have to prevent that. We're very behind the ball as is, and we're only kind of keeping up by the skin of our teeth. So because we've already paid Esper Sentinel's tax, we'll bottom that because we only have 1 red source. There's Shivan Reef. Okay. Okay, so we definitely want to do something about our lands. Now, there's not a ton of decks out there that don't run fetches. We might try it with fetches to see if, you know, the number of miracles is really holding us back. Now, of course, you probably just cut Thunderous Wrath, but half the fun of this deck is playing Thunderous Wrath. Okay, and then we take the other 2. Yeah, no. This guy is playing better cards than us. And he could just sacrifice that on our turn and then kill us. Ooh, Ragavan. Ragavan would be an honorary wizard if I had it on Magic Online, but I don't. Okay, so he should sack, yeah. All right, that was a beating. That is he is playing a very good deck, and we're playing a budget deck from forever ago. All right, I think Searing Blood is fine. We want Roast to take out more creatures. Maybe? So maybe bring in more removal. Now, again, I'm so loathed to take out the Wraths, because they're kind of the whole point of the deck. But, yeah, they actually don't affect the board much, and our opponent is probably much faster on board than we are. So we take the Wraths out, as much as that hurts, and we probably even take a Storm Chase Mage out. And we put in all of our removal. And we just try and keep their board clear while we put in our board. And, you know, if we get to game 3, we'll look at it then. But here we are. Okay, so in theory, this is totally keepable. With our opponent running around with Furies, though, that's not good. I also don't have Fury on mid-go, so I could tell you won't be seeing that this game. All right, more lands. So Sage at the bottom of this pile. Then next turn we play Stormcaster Mage. Third turn we play Adelies. So Lava Runner, then Sulphur Falls, and draw Bolt next turn. Because we go 1, 2, 3, and then on turn 4, if it goes that long, we have all of these instants in our hands to kind of go over the top. There's Esper Sentinel, which is not super great. Shivan Reef. Okay, so Esper Sentinel really doesn't actually change a ton. We'll just play out the Storm Chaser Mage and offer the trade. There's a 0% chance they take this. Yeah. So if they have a Fury, we get blown out again. And they just get to set up immediately with the old Stoneforge. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Funny, funny, funny. All right, untap. So there's the Sulfur Falls, which actually comes into play tapped now I think about it, which is fine, because we probably want to keep up our Lightning Bolts anyway. So we'll attack with Storm Chaser, and we'll wait for them to put like the equipment out, and as they try and attach it to things, we'll bolt. They're going to get to draw a card, but I don't think we can do much better than that. Because if they just have the same start they did last time, we kill the... Yeah, okay, so they have literally the same start as last time. So they'll do this, and on this trigger, we'll just kill Fervent Champion. We'll let them draw. Okay, we'll see if they do anything silly like attack. Nope. And then at end of turn, we'll bolt the Esper Sentinel, because that's causing some problems. They got one card out of Esper Sentinel, and they're gonna be able to equip Sword of Fire and Ice to Stoneforge Mystic. So I suppose we Serum Visions and hope we draw another bolt. No such luck, because we're not drawing that this turn. We have no way of actually drawing that. I don't think we want to land at that point, and we can leave the bolt on top. We'll play the Lava Runner. We'll just get in for some damage while we can here. Now this is where I wish I kept the Thunder Taraths in the deck, because you top deck a couple of those while setting up Sage, and you're in business. Okay, so Adeli's bottom, followed by Soulscar Mage, and then Lightning Bolt Vision. So if they don't just machine gun our entire board down, we actually have a bit of action next turn. But they could just equip Sword of Fire and Ice, hit me, kill, get to Lava Runner, draw an extra card, and then be able to follow that up with another blocker and or threat. Because the only thing we have with prowess right now is the Storm Chaser Mage. So that'll pump a little bit, but not a ton. Oh boy. See, that's not good. So they had another Fervent Champion. So now they just get to deal us a lot more damage than I would have hoped. And they get to leave Stoneforge up to like put out a Batter Skull or something. So they should probably kill the Lava Runner. Yeah, thought so. They have a Forge Tender. Brutal. And another Esper Sentinel. My word. They just don't have a deck full of functioning magic cards. Well, we'll start with Serum Vision. And yeah, we know we're drawing Bolt, so we can pay 1. I think Adeli's can go to the bottom, and I think Soulscar Mage is also not going to be fast enough to help us. So we have to try and bolt something now. The Forge Tender's probably going to save it, but if we bolt the Stoneforge... No, they're good with letting it go, so they must not have anything big in their hands. They're hitting harder than we're hitting, though. Like, we're hitting for 5 right now, and then next turn they're going to hit for 7. Another Sword of Fire and Ice. I forget the swords are not legendary, you know? Because now we're I don't think we're taking quite lethal. We're taking quite a bit, and they get to draw roughly 1 million cards. I have seen this list before that our opponent's playing. Oh, they're just going to machine gun down the Mage. Really? Okay. Wizard's Lightning. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they have lethal right now. We can only deal another 5. We can't actually hurt the champion. We can't also block the champion, so we can just kind of stop thinking about it. If we just Wizard's Lightning the Sentinel, though, and pay, because we got nothing else going on, then what happens? Okay. So they can put us to 1, and they're probably playing their own bolts, but unfortunately we're putting them to 6, which is kind of a far shout from lethal to any of our bolts or anything like that. But yeah, we're gonna improve upon our mana base, I think. And then pretty much with the Sage, I guess we have to either... Oh, we're just dead? Yeah, I think we're just dead. So with the Sages, we're just gonna have to either have the Thundereth Wrath the next turn, or we're just going to have to give up on those plans. And it seems like we will have to deal a bit of damage to ourselves. Yeah, okay, so that went about as well as we thought. Let's bring this into the tuning area and see what we can do about it. Okay, so that was a thrashing, pretty vicious thrashing. So what do we want to do about this? So we actually have a whole bunch of Blitz decks in here that run relatively the same amount of lands. However, these Blitz decks that we have here are really more red than blue. And I think there's another Blitz list in here. Yeah, this Blitz list. Again, this is also more red than blue, whereas our Wizards deck here is very, very kind of split down the middle. It's doing a lot of cantripping. And I thought about even using Brainstone to put the Thunderous Wraths back on top of the deck, but I don't quite think that's where we're going. I think this deck does a little bit of damage with the creatures and really does the lion's share of its damage with the 8 bolts and the 4 wraths. But I do think we can kind of fix this mana base. I do actually have decent mana online. So right off the bat, if we kind of bring our thing up here, get rid of the basic. Okay. So I actually think in a deck like this, because we top out pretty quickly on our mana curve, we can nip one of the islands and put in another Spirebluff Canal. We can also nip these Sulphur Falls because we have just so many things that aren't they're just not mountains or islands, so that makes it unfortunate. So if we take those out, let's go ahead and find our steam vents, and then let's nip some mountains and put in some Scalding Tarns. Those Shivan Reefs also aren't looking great, and I do believe I have online Fiery Islets, I believe. I don't actually have them online, and those are expensive, so we're not gonna do that. Is there anything we have already online that would work? I suppose we could have some number of Sulphur Falls if we're using Scalding Tarns and Steam Vents. If we take out the Shivan Reefs and we go get 4 just other fetches, so probably fetches that do blue. Oh, they're the Fiery Islands. Why were those not showing up in our thing? So Fiery Island, Fiery Island, Fiery Island, and then just one more fetch. So an Arid Mesa. In fact, I'm going to nip an island and put in a Misty. So 3 basics, and then that makes the land just better off the bat. I don't know if I'm going to touch much about the deck right now, because I want to see how the deck responds to me screwing with the mana base like that. But this sideboard also is in dire need of a tune-up. So I believe Searing Blood was used instead of Searing Blaze, just because it was cheaper and this didn't have fetches before. But now that we have fetches, we can just, we could take these 3 Searing Bloods out and just put in Searing Blazes. Negate Disdainful Stroke and Dispel Pierces. The Tormod Crypts I'm not even that against. I think those are fine. But the question is, what do we do about all this counter magic when we have nothing that stops Chalice of the Void at all? So I think we need some number of Abrades. And apparently I have 2, so that's how many we'll be using. So we'll get rid of Negate, we'll get rid of a Disdainful Stroke, and we'll bring in a Braid and a Braid. And then we'll take out another Disdainful Stroke, and we'll put in a Echoing Truth. 4 Spell Pierce is still kind of crazy to me. The roasts also seem kind of out of place. They just seem to be heavy creature removal. What's our other decks running? Kozilek's Return, Blood Moon's interesting. Vapor Snag, they are still running some amount of Spell Pierce. Dragon Claw. So if we take out the 2 roasts and we put in Dragon Claw, try and gain some life, and then I feel like we take out 2 Spell Pierce, put in 2 Blood Moons. Okay, so there's the new sideboard. It still has some magic stuff, or some counter magic, but it also has things that will actually stop this deck from dying, like Ensnaring Bridges and all that. It has some creature removal in Searing Blaze, some Dragon Claws, and some haha I win in Blood Moon. I don't know if Blood Moon's right, but we'll find out shortly. So let's go ahead and try it like this and see if the deck runs better, because we haven't actually changed the core of the deck. Now, that being said, do we want to remove either Serum Visions or opt for Consider? Consider might be better, because, like, what are you opting back to your deck that you hope you draw later other than Thunderous Wrath? And Serum Visions is a sorcery, which is kind of brutal. Well, we can take out the Charter Courses, maybe. So nip the Charter Courses and put in 2 Considers. I realize this makes us even more one-droppy, but it is what it is. And I know everyone's looking at Stormcaster Mage and they're saying Fairy Dragon, or Sprite Dragon, but the Sprite Dragon isn't a wizard. And while a lot of this revolves around, throwing a lot of spells with her in play, getting that double prowess with a Storm Chaser is powerful. But I think this is enough tuning and tweaking for the first go. And let's see if this performs any better now, or if the actual core of the deck needs a proper redo. Hey, look at that. We won a die roll. Imagine my surprise. So yes, I'd love to go first. No lands, easy mull. No lands a second time. We didn't actually take any lands out of the deck. I guess we have to keep this because we don't have much other choice. Luckily, we have a Thunderous Wrath that we want to put to the bottom and then shuffle with our Misty. 2 Fiery Izzets. I don't know what it is, and I think I've talked to you guys about this before, but I can have, we took out every Pain land and put in 3 Fiery Islands, and all we have now are the Pain lands. I don't understand. Okay, so we'll keep this. We have to put 2 back. So Thunderous Wrath is easy, and I think the Fiery Island is easy as well. So, I think we just start with the Sage, even though that kind of locks us a bit. So if we start with the Sage, we can kind of set up our deck here. Nothing but lands, and not even lands that shuffle away, and 1 Serum Vision. Okay. So Island at the absolute bottom, followed by Steam Vents, followed by Spire Bluffs, followed by Serum Visions. So we're just going to double cantrip and try and get all those cards out of our way. Let's see what our opponent's up to. Oh, they have their own Steam Vents, but I bet you they play either a Ragavan or okay. Sure thing. So we will now Serum Visions and get those lands kind of out of our way because we don't need them. So bottom. Then we'll play Spire Bluff Canal and opt Soul Scar Mage. Don't actually think we want that right now. Lightning Bolt. Okay, I feel a lot better about Lightning Bolt. It looks like our opponent's probably playing some kind of control. If they're also playing a Miracles Wizard deck, I'm going to go out and buy lottery tickets because the chances of that seem hilariously low. Yeah, it looks like they're just on some kind of control. There's another Serum Vision. I feel like they're just going to counter whatever we do. So let's try and set up for a future turn. Bottom. Oh, there's the Wrath. Boo. Top. And then just... Actually, no, we don't have to do that right now. We can do that on their turn, and we'll just attack with the Sage. Yeah, now we just have that giant card in our hand that ain't never going to be cast. I'm even going to wait until the end of their turn to try and bolt to see if I can bait out any sort of response. But we really only have so many turns to do stuff before control kind of runs us over. So we'll just bolt. There's an opt. I mean, I feel like we just have to run into this, and we really don't have any other option, because we got to get it out of their hand. So here's a counter spell. Oh, they must have a Wrath. Now here's where we would really like to start flipping Thunderous Wraths. Unfortunately, we drew one off a Serum Vision. Because, if next turn is, play Teferi Bolt or something like that, is Archmage's Charm steal the Sage? Or just draw 2? Yeah, draw 2. Yeah, so this feels like Teferi Bolt. Oh no, they're just gonna exile our random flying 2/2. Ooh, yes. Our opponent is probably very confused as to what's happening right now. Yay! I'm so happy. All right, opt. No! No! We could have killed them. Brian, you need to have faith. You need to have faith in the miracles, that miracles are real. All right, before they could just counter everything, let's go ahead and consider. Yeah, put that. Ooh, a Stormcaster Mage. All right. That's just having them top. That would have been a great way to steal a win. But this could even just be big Teferi now. Ooh. Okay, so we can probably take this if we get lucky. So if we cast Stormcaster Mage, and now we attack as is. 2. All right, before they have a chance to do whatever they want to do, I want to bolt you. Do I get to bolt you? Stole it. All right. Against Jeskai Control-ish. So I'm assuming this is some kind of control. So we'll bring in the Spell Pierces. I think we also need to bring in the Abrades and Echoing Truths, because I feel like Chalice in the deck we just went up against would be a pretty common thing. So the Thunderous Wraths are how we kind of win. This might... Okay, so 2 Storm Chaser Mages out because they're just expensive. 1 Adelies out as well. And then we start nipping like Serum Visions, I think. And we try this. All right. Okay, so this is pretty aggro. This is a lot of damage early, assuming that they don't keep an entire hand full of removal. Okay, so we even get to put our first Soul Scar down kind of out any problems. We're not going to Sage turn 1 because we kind of want to be a little bit more aggro than that. Wonder if they're going to ice down my land. This, yay. Yes, I'd love to. Dome you. You start the game at 15. Are they just going to let it happen or are they going to counter? Seems like they might counter this, which is fine. It means we get to deal them a decent chunk of damage. This looks like just counterspell. Yeah. No fun police over there on the other side of the table. Do we want to play... I think we want to play Soulscar Mage and just try and set up for a big turn next turn. Because like most we could do is 5 now versus next turn where each one of our little bolty spells does another 2 damage, assuming they don't put out much. Now, they're playing Control and they're also playing Jeskai, so they could have Fury, they could have Solitude, they could miss a land drop. These are all things that could have just happened. So if we play out the island, because Sage isn't going to draw us any cards, and we start just by swinging. Let's see, they don't have anything, so we'll do this with our extra copies of Lightning Bolt. Browse triggers go off, see if they do anything about the Lightning Bolt. No. See if I can bolt them again. Wizard's Lightning was another card people were really concerned about for things like Modern Burn that just never materialized. Oh, they finally are done with that. We'll bottom that because we're going to Sage. But we get to still deal a decent amount of damage. They're at 8, and hopefully we can find another Wrath on top of our top here. Oh no, but it's just nothing but bolts. All right, so Spire Bluff, Bolt, 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 Bolt. Just all the bolts. Like we're gonna win with lightning bolts. All right. They could totally steal one of our creatures too. So probably what we'll do next turn is we'll just go straight to combat. And if they go to steal, we'll double bolt. Yeah, I feel like they want to steal the Soulscar Mage here, but that allows us to go bolt. Okay, yeah. So you totally get to steal, and then I get to go. I'm not attacking, but I do get to now just bolt and bolt. And we know we have just all the bolts on top of our deck. So the moment they tap out for anything, we got them. But we can't just run into their hand, which is full of counter spells and Aether Gusts and stuff. So the moment they tap down, they're done. And if they don't find lands, that's good for us. So what we'll do is at the end of their turn, we'll try and double bolt. And if they counter the 2 of them, then we'll draw a 3rd bolt and we'll just win. Come on, do something. Do something you won't. Okay, so Wizard's Lightning. They should have a counter for this. Snapcaster Mage. Okay, so Snapcaster on the stack, Lightning Bolt. That should do it, because now they can't possibly counter both. Oh, we got the GGs from our opponent. All right, that worked out. Let's take a look at the deck and talk a little bit. Okay, so that went rather well. Is there much we want to do, or is there even anything we want to do? Because the deck is kind of behaving. Like, I'm looking at Storm Chaser Mage and going, it's not terribly strong, but like, what do you put in its place? There's not a ton. Trust me, I looked up a lot of things. I'm also wondering if we want to put in like a cheeky Temporal Mastery, the other miracle card to get an extra turn. Because I feel like getting 2 attack steps and 2 untaps would be super strong with this deck. Brainstone is also a very interesting idea. Like, really, I'm trying to think of cheap ways to get extra cards going, because this deck was made before Light Up the Stage or Iteration was a thing. But I'm wondering if Iteration is better, because Thunderous Miracle cards in general really don't want Iteration, I don't think. I mean, we can try it. The Serum Visions would be the logical thing to cut and to put in some iterations, whether we want. We could try a couple. So if we take out 2 Serum Visions and we take out 1 Opt, that gives us 3 iterations to play with. Now I wonder if that makes the deck too slow, and also if it makes Thunderous Wrath just awful. But we'll go ahead and we'll give it a good go and see if they even come up, see if they're useful, see if, even just taking our curve and putting it that much higher kind of ruins the deck, but let's see what we go up against. All right, we lost the die roll, if anybody's wondering how that went. All right, 1 land. Already that expressive's not looking great. Let's mull. And this is pretty land heavy, but the expressive will unsage lock us, so we can keep. And we'll put one of the Tarns to the bottom. See what our opponent's up to. Oh, it's Tron, and we took out our Stubby D's, or not Stubby D's, our counter spells 4 or higher. We drew another Adelies, which is kind of painful, but I think we just start with Sage, because we can always fetch away stuff we don't want. So out of our top 4, Storm Chaser Mage, Lightning Bolt, Wizard's Lightning, Fiery Izzet. So we probably want to draw the land. So other than that, it doesn't really matter, because we'll draw the land, and then the rest gets kind of shuffled away, probably. Oh, and do they just have Tron as well? They just have Tron, and we don't go very fast. So there's just bolts on top of the deck now. Because, like, next turn they get to play something big. Next our turn we'll play Adelies, and that doesn't really do it. So I guess we have to shuffle the top of our deck and hope for things better than just bolts. We'll get a Steam Vent tapped, and we'll just attack. We have the bolt in hand if we need to do anything, but if they just play a Tron thing, then this is just over. Nope, a forest. Okay, so they don't have Tron. They have to go looking for it. They also have a Jingatha, because why wouldn't they? Worm Coil Engine. That's not good. That's really bad. So next turn, if they Worm Coil, we just get duffed. Well, no reason not to bolt you. All right, Thunderous Wrath? Spire Bluff Canal. I mean, I guess we set up for a turn. Doesn't seem like we're going to get much to it, but we can set up with Cinderwind here. Yeah, there's Tron. I kind of felt like they had it the whole time, but they had to look for a threat. Because now Worm Coil comes down, and that's kind of the end of the game. Yep, there's Worm Coil. Oh, and they get to Sylvan Scrying on top of that. Good for them. Another Urza's Tower. I'm happy for you, Tron. I truly am. Wizard's Lightning. So we start with an Expressive, a Lava Runner, and opt a Sage. So put the Sage to hand, put the Lava Runner at the bottom, and exile the opt. Then we can play a land, and we can play the opt. Storm Chaser Mage. No, bottom. Another Lava Runner. So I guess the best we can do is we can attack, and if they block Sage, we Wizard's Lightning the Worm Coil Engine. I mean, they're going to gain a bunch of life, but they're going to gain a bunch of life anyway. So we'll go ahead and just swing with everything, and if they don't block, then we get to do more damage, but I figure they will block. Yeah. Then we just ult. The problem is they have so many Haymakers now. And we're taking 6 a turn and they're gaining 3 a turn. That is not inconsequential, but, you know, it doesn't take much for them to go off at this point. Okay, we're done. Goodbye. Thank you, Tron. Bye, bye, bye. All right. Sideboards against Tron. Well, we have Blood Moon now. So Blood Moon is a thing. Echoing Truth is a thing. Spell Pierce could be a thing. But what's not a thing is more important. Nip and Expressive. Oh, Braids are also things. Nip some ops. Much as it hurts, even nip a Sage and a Cinderwind. Alright, I'd love to go first. Okay, so turn 1, Soul Scar. Turn 2, Storm Chaser. Turn 3, big swing with our trips, and Thunderous Wrath is just a dead card. I don't think this deck does better. Because our opponent's first 2 turns are just going to be setting up Tron. Yeah, because they've already mulliganed to 6. Okay, so they managed to get Tron at 6. Pretty much, for those of you who don't play Tron, you just mull until you get Tron. Now, Eldrazi Tron plays by slightly different rules, because you don't need Tron for Eldrazi Tron, but if you're just playing green Tron, you mull until you have Tron. Whether that's Tron naturally, whether that's Tron with a map, whether that's Tron with a Sylvan Scrying, or even relying on a Ancient Stirrings, but you mull until you find Tron. That's just how it works. Yeah, so bibbity, bobbity, boobity. So next turn's our big turn. Really, what we would love is a land or to rip a Thunderous Wrath off the top to just start the clown music. Because next turn, if we find a land, we can play the Lava Runner and our 2 instants and kind of go from there. So this looks like they're cracking the star to Ancient Stirring. Oh no, just a sphere. Okay, so they're just cantripping right now. Oh, they kept a 1-lander. Okay, well, I didn't see that coming. We'll do this now because I don't want lands. Let's get a Steam Vent. Our life total is kind of irrelevant in this matchup. We'll start with a Consider. We want to find a Bolt or something. Sage. Yes, I would like to put Sage in my graveyard. Found another land. Not great, but, you know, not the worst. Actually, now that I remember how Lava Runner works, we definitely want more Considers in this deck, because it allows us to just put spells in the graveyard and give our guys haste. So they crack again. I wonder why they kept a 6-lander if they... Yeah, no, that's so... That is bad Tron discipline right there, is what that is. I don't want to change anything. Like, that was an incredibly fast start for us. The problem is, now on game 3, they get to be on the play, so they'll get Tron before we get our big smash turn in. But I think we tried. I think we just kind of run with it as is. Another hand with no lands somehow. That's just impressive. So, mull. 2... no. Okay. We gotta put 2 back, though. So the pain land... So if they go turn 1 and they play a map, our Braid never actually has a chance to work. So we'll put that to the bottom. Okay, let's see what their turn 1 play is. Nothing. That's fine by us. All right, so let's see what's on our top. Oogity. So let's just make sure we have a fetch on the top. I'm glad to get those off the top of my deck, though. Chromatic Sphere. They must have just drawn that since they didn't play it last turn. All right, immediate Misty Rainforest, immediate everything goes away. Go ahead and get a Steam Vent, and we'll just play out Soulscar Mage. We're going a little slow to beat Tron, I'm not gonna lie. We kind of needed more things than just having a million lands on top. But we're at the point now where if we start ripping things like Thunderous Wraths or cantrips, we might be able to kind of go into it. Okay, so they should have an Ancient Stirring or a... Yes, okay. So see, this time it was good Tron discipline. Because now they're going to have Tron and Tron. All right, so we need to find Blood Moon, and we need to find Blood Moon right about now. Or we can do that. We can just go with our normal plan. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think it wins us any game right now. Our opponent's like more or less tapped out, so we can just kind of have at it. Yeah, unfortunately, we're now ripping off the top, and he is ripping like real cards. Because he is Tron, so, like, Ugin kills us, Karn kills us, Wormcoil Engine kills us. 9. This is a really big Walking Ballista. Ugin! Okay, we're dead. Ugin -1 exiles both our creatures. Yep. And we find a Braid! Good old Braid. If you were a Thunderous Wrath, I'd be excited right now, but you're not. You're in a Braid. So they just start nugging us for 3 with Ugin. Whatever this big thing is. Is this Lamog? Ha! Okay, so we're still not dead. We can still find Thunder off the top. We find another Braid. That is the deck telling me to go fuck myself. Rabble. Yeah, no, it does us 3, and then Big Boy done swing. So this is a loss. This is just a straight up loss. Yeah, 2 Thunders in there. We cast 1 Thunder, so unless like we go really good with cantrips, we're done here. Oh, do you have a follow-up? Ha, of course you do. Why wouldn't you? Well, you know what? I have the ability to do this, so I'm going to. Screw your artifact creature, Tron. Kapow. Yep, no, Wormcoil gets to come down. All right, and they have a map, which is fine. So we got to steal 1 game against Tron, because they kept just an awful hand. Yeah, there's a Bolt, which gets them real close to dead, but it doesn't kill them. If one of these Braids had just been... you know, something better. All right, that didn't quite work. So we lose this one. I think I have an idea of what I want to do next. Let's go back to the deck. Okay, so based on that, it wasn't a thrashing from Tron. It was actually pretty even-ish, and we only have 2 Blood Moons, so maybe we're just being greedy on that front. But here's what I'm thinking. So we want all the considers we can get. So we'll just start nipping like Serum Visions and putting in considers. Expressive Iteration isn't bad. It sets us up for a turn, but it doesn't seem awesome, if you kind of understand, because it's 2 and you really want to play it on turn 3 or higher. And we really don't have any free cards in this deck. We're not playing Mishra's Bauble because I still don't have them online. Also, Cinderwind here cares about instants and sorceries. It was during a time of Magic where they didn't want to say prowess. So there's that. But what do we do now? Because I even feel like running 2 expressives and running all 4 ops might be better. Because expressive is a draw 2. Essentially, it's taking the place of Chart a Course. And I think it is better than Chart a Course, because Chart a Course you kind of did after combat to draw 2. And in this deck, that's really when it didn't matter anymore. Expressive you can do before combat and have like prowess triggers and stuff. It does make Thunderous Wrath worse, but if you charted a course into a Thunderous Wrath, it was bad anyway. And yeah, outside of lowering the number of wizards, thus making Wizard's Lightning worse, I don't know if there's a ton we can do here. Now, I can hear you saying that maybe instead of Storm Chaser Mage, we should be running Snapcaster. And I'm not even opposed to that voice in my head. We only have 2, which is fine by me. We'll take out 2 Storm Chasers. We'll put in 2 Snapcasters. And we'll see if the Snapcaster is good. All right, I think this is evolving. Let's try that. So like always, we had a contest to see who likes to roll dice more, and our opponent wins. So we have lost the die roll. Lava Runner, Snapcaster. Already I like Snapcaster better than Storm Chaser. I think this is fine so long as we're not running into a very graveyard-heavy deck. Okay, so we did play against this guy, but he's already playing something different. He's on, like, Yawgmoth now. Well, we don't want any more lands, so I will just go get one of those. Play out one of those. So we have, like, Bolt, Bolt, Snap, Bolt. Oh my god, too many Young Wolves. Too many Young Wolves. And we still drew a land, even though we've been trying to thin our deck. That's neat. He double blocks, we bolt 1. They come back as 2/2s. Yawgmoth is a 2/4. But he doesn't have much going on in his hand. So let's see if he does it. Attack with Lava Runner, see if he takes the bait. Okay, cool. That means we get to bolt one of the dogs, and then get a mountain, kill the other dog, and then we'll see what he plays. Lotus Cobra. Fascinating. Gonna make a million land. Catacomb Sifter, what do you even do? Huh. So we want to kill something now with the bolt before Catacomb Sifter comes down, I think. So we'll kill probably the Young Wolf, because that's like a combo piece. And we'll Snap Bolt the Catacomb Sifter, which will be fine. Hopefully we just don't draw lands. Storm Chaser Mage. I kind of wish you were another Snapcaster, not gonna lie. So play Spire Bluff Canal and Snap Bolt. Get the Catacomb Sifter out of the way. Oh, that actually shrinks our Lava Runner. That's funny. That's a non-bow right there. But we'll just attack with them anyway. Sure. Oopsie. Well, we learned something today. What did they draw? Another Catacomb Sifter. How nice of them. Well, we have a deck full of cantrips, and they have a lackluster field of creatures. So let's kill the Cobra. They do get to scry. Maybe that was a bad idea. Opt. Okay, so clearly we want to play this guy first. Then we opt. On Bolt. Now, bottom. Soulscar Mage. Fortunately, we have to punch ourselves to do that. And now we swing with our Storm Chaser, because we are still racing here. And they can hit us with the Catacomb Sifter for 2, and that's fine. Everything else is fair game. Ugh, Strangleroot Geist. Brutal. Okay, so we block that. And we take 4, which doesn't feel good, but I think it's what we have to do. To get to scry again. Oh man, even better. They scry to the bottom, which is even worse for us. Oh no. Mr. I don't actually do anything. On Sage, show us something good. So, lands to the bottom, and then we go consider the top, play the land, because we're just kind of open here. It's just a land. No attack, which is good for us. Now, do we actually play? I don't think we play Consider. I think we just yield. And if they attack, we can use Consider and Opt to pump our 2 prowess creatures. Looks like they're trying to thin their deck as well. Oh, Dryad Arbor. I really hope they don't find... Okay, so they find an Ignoble Hierarch, which is fine. I think we can still race whatever they try and swing in with, if they even swing. Oh, okay. Yay. So it becomes a 3/2, and we block. And then before damage, we're able to consider... No, I would like Opt in my hand. And we don't actually have to fire off Opt right now either. They do get to scry again, which is not good for us, and we know we're drawing a land. On the plus side, though, we can now hardcast Thunderous Wrath. The Scalding Tarn out, and we yield again. We really hope they just draw a land. If they draw... Ooh, okay. That's fine by me. Do they just attack with Strangle again? They do. Nope. We're just going to let it go. We're going to crack this, because we don't want the lands that are on top of our deck. Thank you. Do we fire off Opt now, or do we draw and see how we do? I think we have to fire off Opt and look for better things. Bottom. Get to Lava Runner. Okay. And a Thunderous Wrath. So yes, we want to cast Thunderous Wrath, but what are we aiming at? Are we aiming at Catacomb Sifter? Are we aiming at our opponent? I don't think aiming at our opponent right now is correct. I think aiming at the Sifter might be correct right now. Stop them from scrying all the time. Now Brian's gonna do the math in his head after he did that. Well, actually, we did, so it's fine. And we bluff the Lava Runner as a blocker, and we can just throw Sage in front of the bus if they attack with Strangle Rootgeist. Okay, they drew a land. We're making it look like we have something in hand. Okay, so here's how we probably win if we're able to win. Ooh, baby. Okay, so Spire Bluff Canal, consider, Thunder, and we pass. And for the next 2 turns, we can just dome them with Wraths. Now, if they find Yawgmoth... Oh, no, they just found a Bird of Paradise. Please don't attack. Woo! Okay, so yes, Wrath, our opponent. Oh, no, cancel. Wrath, our opponent, for 1, which triggers Prowess. And then next turn, assuming they don't have... Oh, no, they do have something with Haste, though. Problematic. We need to keep bluffing this anyway. Zulaport Cutthroat. That's not good. That's really bad. Okay, so whenever another creature you control dies, we drain. So, we just chump that, put that there, put that there. We're taking 1, 2... We're taking 3 either way, so let's just do that. Yeah, that I think got them the game. Guess we actually have to Wrath the Cutthroat. Oh no, but he actually triggers on himself too, so we die. Okay, how do we stop this? I feel like Blood Moon is good. I feel like the Crypts are good. I feel like the Crypts might even should be Grafdigger's Cages in this match. So what's bad? You can take out one of these. We can even take out 2 of these. The reason for that is they're gaining life, and Thunderous Wrath is really only good against decks that don't do that. From there, we also take out 1 Sage, take out 2 more cards. Probably just 2 ops, and put this in. Oh, do we get to put an opt back? We do get to put an opt back. Okay, so we're on the play, and hopefully we can kind of set this up. I really thought we had that, though, when we saw all the Wraths on top, but I guess that's why you don't see them in more decks. This is too slow. This could be anything. So I say we keep this, we put the Fiery Island to the bottom, and we just Spire Bluff. We play out Tormod's Crypt. I don't... actually, no, he does have Hand Disruption, so we will play out Tormod's Crypt. Now, the problem with Tormod's Crypt is it's one and done, and this deck really does everything all the time. So we get to, like, disrupt their graveyard once. So let's consider, and I would like to consider that graveyard... Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, okay, we can spend a turn dealing them 5. Start them at 15. I'd feel a lot better if I had a creature, but you can't always get what you want. We'll yield through this turn. Let's see, what do they have now? A Lotus Cobra. That's going to make them a whole bunch of mana next turn. We might kill that. I mean, we have a Wizard's Lightning. Okay, I guess we go get an island because we have the Blood Moons in the deck. And I think drawing a Blood Moon next turn would actually do pretty good damage. We draw a Lava Runner. So what we do is we play Lava Runner. We kill their Cobra. And then we just attack. We're kind of running out of steam here. Strangle Rootgeist. That's not good. Okay, so we take a damage. Then we opt. Soulscar Mage. So here's the problem. We're really not getting in front of our opponent. We're not. But I guess because we get another draw, we can keep Mage and hope to draw a spell. Or her. She's also nice. So we play out Cinderwind here, and I think we just go over the top. Bird of Paradise, that's an unfortunate blocker and a mana source. No attack. Cool. Snapcaster Mage. So, the problem here is... Oh no, we do have enough in there. So we can Snapcaster Mage and bolt the Bird of Paradise and then hit him for 3. That also keeps him off of 3 mana, which I feel is important. So I feel like that's the correct thing to do. Oh, but we don't have a Lightning Bolt. Ha ha ha. Oopsie, that's a Wizard's Lightning. Because it's a... Actually, no, it should work because the spell costs 2 less to cast. Cool. So I should still be able to do that for 1. I do. Great. Thank you, wording on Wizard's Lightning. Okay. Now we attack with Cinderwind here. Put him to 6. And we win the game. All right, going to game 3. So the Tormod's Crypt seemed to be enough to kind of stop them in their track. I wonder if Searing Blaze is good enough. Like, if we nip another Sage, and we put in a Searing Blaze, and then we nip a Stormcaster Mage, and we put in a Searing Blaze, and then we nip an Expressive Iteration and put in a Searing Blaze, because they are a creature deck. I honestly don't know if that's right, but we'll try it. Okie dokie. So whole bunches of land, and then not much. We're going to try and find something a little bit better. That seems okay. So we'll keep this. I really want to keep Blood Moon. I do. I do think that just wins the game. But then what do I put to the bottom? It's a lightning bolt. Fine. So I don't think they're going to get basics. Yeah, see? So this is a young wolf? Oh no, bird. Well, everybody knows what happens to birds of paradise. A tale as old as time, bolt the bird. We also now have our third land, so on our turn 3, we get to Blood Moon them hopefully out of the game. Strangleroot Geist is fine. Because hopefully we get to stop you from playing Magic soon. If all you have is a 2/1, I'm not that afraid of it. Tormod's Crypt. That's even better. So, we play Tormod's Crypt. We play Get to Lava Runner. And then we play Steam Vents tapped. Which kind of shows that we have no way of making Get to... Well, I guess we would have attacked with Get to Lava Runner if we could. But at least that'll stop the Strangleroot Geist. And as long as he doesn't play a fetch land, we're in pretty decent shape. Oh, he's going to play the fetch land now? Oh no, he's just going to play a Twilight Mire. Okay, what do you got off the Twilight Mire? Another Strangleroot Geist. Okay, so this isn't as definitive as I would like it to be. I do think I wait on the block. Actually, no, let's do this now. So we'll block, Undying goes on the stack, and then we get rid of that. And then next turn we Blood Moon, and kind of hope we can steal the game after that. Now, this isn't a guarantee, because we're not going to have blue mana, and we have a Snapcaster Mage now stranded in our deck, and they have a Lotus Cobra. But we do hopefully have enough bolts in our deck where, you know, because like next turn we get to kill the Lotus Cobra with our Lava Runner. Ooh, a Wrath. So, and our opponent scoops it up. Blood Moon, Thunderous Wrath, a match made in heaven. Let's go back to the tuning stage and see if there's anything we want to change before our next game. Hello everyone, as you can tell by the change of my clothing and the fact that I'm not wearing my glasses right now, it's been a minute since I looked at this. Sometimes when I'm tuning, I like to give it a day between screwing with it to see if anything here really sticks out to me as something for me to go, okay, that really needs to go out. I was never really impressed with that. And just take another look at the deck and think, okay, is there anything that really stands out to be like, that doesn't fit, that doesn't fit, that doesn't fit? And actually, I unfortunately to say, nothing has really stood out to me. This deck is kind of performing the best I think it can without me greatly changing what it is, without me taking out Thunderous Wraths, without me lowering wizard counts for better creatures. So with that, I believe we've done 4. I'll have to go back and check. So we'll run this one last time. Consider this my final build of this deck, at least for this iteration of it, until I try and shove in like temporal masteries and other fun miracle things. And yeah, so join me for one last one to see if I am correct in saying this is a good final version of this deck, or if I am incredibly wrong and we're about to go back to the beginning where we simply get crushed. Let's see what happens. All right, we won the die roll after a rolling contest. It's the first time that's happened in a while, so I can feel pretty good about that. I would love to take the play. 2 lands, Snapcasters, Wizards Lightnings, Expressives. I mean, we can do stuff with this. We definitely do stuff. So let's run out the Misty, because we're definitely not grabbing a mountain, and pass through the turn, see what our opponent's up to. Treasure Vault, so some kind of affinity. Springleaf Drum, yeah, so I expect some sort of 0-drop, either a Memnite or an Ornithopter. Like Clockwork, and then they play a Frogmite? Amulet of Vigor. Well, I'm scared. We have enough blue cards that we grab an island. Consider our life here. Sage, we can keep. That gives us something to do next turn. And we have a fetch as well. Get rid of anything bad. Stormcaster Mage. So if I cast Stormcaster Mage, we don't actually know what's on top of the deck, but I guess we could Expressive next turn and be a little bit more aggressive versus Sage. And I think Affinity's quick enough that we kind of want to, we'll get a Steam Vent, be the aggressor. So we'll play out the Mage. Also, I just realized that I made the consider mistake, and I hit yes as in I want the card. It put one to the graveyard, and I drew one anyway. So that's kind of hilarious. How I punted, yet it was still correct. Task failed successfully. Oh, okay. If they're just doing it to make their artifact lands better, that's less scary. Like, there's that 7/7 thing from Dominaria that would be scary if he's putting that into play. The giant dragon construct. Well, that's not necessarily better. What's he gonna put that on? Or he's just gonna do that. Okay, so our opponent has plenty to... Ugh, Sojourner's Companion. Our opponent has officially gone off, and they're gonna start hitting really hard. Soulscar Mage. Not exactly what we want to see. So, what we're gonna do is Expressive and hope to find a land in the top 3. We do. Okay. So we're gonna put the Expressive to hand, we're gonna put the Izzet to the bottom, and we're gonna exile the Canal. Play Canal, and then I think we're still on just race mode, so we'll bolt the Thought Monitor, that thing out of the way, and then attack with Storm Chaser. Unfortunately, they're going to hit a lot harder than we are, but we can Snapcaster's Wizard's Lightning next turn. The problem is Sojourner's Companion is a 4 toughness, not a 3 toughness creature, so we'll have to do it the second time they go to attack. Oof, that is going to hit us for a lot. This is bad. But like I said, they're only going to... Jeez. They're only going to hit us for so much. They hit us for 16, everyone's allowed to yell at me. Oh, they're going to put it on Ornithopter. That I'm slightly less worried about. That means we can trade Storm Chaser. Get 2 Lava Runner. We're at 1, so I think we're dead. Yep, okay. So they are just more aggro than we are. Do we have a way to stop this? I guess Blood Moon's not bad if all of their stuff is doing that. The Abrades and Echoing Truths are pretty good. What comes out? Storm Chaser Mage, you've been a little lackluster. We'll cut a Sage or 2 as well. But 1 Thunderous Wrath, and that's everything we need to take out. Is Blood Moon any good, actually? Because a lot of their stuff's going to come out for free, and it doesn't stop the artifact lands from being artifact, now that I say that out loud. It does stop them from casting the Thought stuff, though. So if I put the Blood Moons back, which might be a mistake, and we put in Thunderous Wrath and one of the Sages to try and set it up. Maybe that's correct instead. And we can just kind of hope to draw our hate pieces. Now, like, there might be a world where Shatterstorm is correct in this deck, but we didn't exactly get to 4 mana last game. 1 land, but we have a Sage. So if we just get a Steam Vent, and then we play out Sage and we try and set up our hand, we also have an Opt to get rid of some stuff that might be subpar. And of course, a Bolt and a Snapcaster. So if we can just find some lands, we can try and set up to go off here. Our opponent might just be faster. It might just be that he can't really do a ton against, 8 cast. Right, off to the races. And we play our boy. Okay, interesting. So, definitely Soulscar Mage on the very bottom, followed by Mountain, followed by Arid Mesa, followed by Thunderous Wrath. And we'll dome them for 5 next turn, and... well, that was a mistake, because now we don't get to draw land. Oopsie. Well, we'll dome them, and then we won't do anything else, because, yeah, I have to make it... Oh, okay, well, luckily they're going to give us some time to set up most of them. So, yes, I'll show that off. I will dome you for 5. And unfortunately, I won't be able to take advantage. What we should have done is drawn a land, and then next turn drawn the Wrath, but playing a little loose. All right, so this is the turn our opponent can go off, because they'll have, untapped land. Horde. Okay, so now we have our land. We know we have another land on top. So I think we want that land, so we could opt and go get it. Oh, now we have our land. We can't kill the Patchwork Automaton, but we can just attack with the Sage. And, like, do we Bolt or do we play out Soulscar Mage? I guess we play out Soulscar Mage, because the Bolt will do the same amount of damage next turn. Unless, like, we really, really go for it with, the Cinderwind here to try and do the double prowess thing, but we'll see how off our opponent goes. Our opponent's deck, like, that Patchwork Automaton can get very big very fast. Okay, so they are just... I have to imagine they have a hand full of, like, free cards at this point. Yeah, so here we go. Like, we could just yield, because our opponent just kind of gets to go off for a bit. I'll take 2. Probably the best I could have hoped for. Ooh, okay, we found Wrath. I want to cast it for its Miracle Call. Okay, so that changes the math a bit. They go to 8. We play a land. Now, I don't think they don't block here. I think they do block here, but we'll see. And if they don't block Soulscar Mage, that gets them down really low, too. And then we could just kill them with Snapcaster Mage next turn. Oh, okay, well, guess they decided I didn't have it. So we put them to 1, which is really close to 0. And if they dome us for 10... that's the risk we took. Okay, so they can still theoretically kill us. They have 5 cards in hands, which would make that a 7/7 plus Thoughtcast. Okay. We can still die, because they can still cast, theoretically, 6 artifact spells from their hand. Currently, we're sitting at 5 damage, 6 damage, 7 damage. Glad they don't have the ability to equip that right now. Okay, so Hooray Snapcaster Mage. Cool. I will take Lightning Bolt, and I will cast that Lightning Bolt. All right, we make it to game 3. And that's the power of Thunderous Wrath. It just straight up kind of ran away with that. Is Searing Blaze something? We want to take out Echoing Truth and put in a Searing Blaze, because that will just do more damage. Do we want to get rid of one of our 1-drops for a Searings? I don't think so. I think a Braid just being straight up destroy target artifact is good. Searing Blaze to deal a little bit of extra damage I feel like is better than Echoing Truth, but we'll see. I suppose this is a very creature-based deck, and like it's kind of hard to cut cantrips in this deck where you're just trying to really go off, but I suppose there's definitely moments where that's correct to do. This hand doesn't do much. Our 1-drop doesn't opt. We're gonna go back to the well here. Unfortunately, we got to go back to the well again. So we'll put back 1 land, and I say we put back the opt. Actually, no, we'll put back Adeliz, and we'll keep the opt, and we'll first turn Soulscar Mage, second turn, hopefully, Searing Blaze. Okay, so I'm happy I put the land back now. So hopefully they play a creature I can just Searing Blaze off the field, dealing them 5 for the turn. Amulet. Okay, so now all their tap lands are untapped lands. Essentially just turned his... Oof. Okay, well, they're going to get to draw a card. Oof, they're going to get to draw... that got worse and worse the more I talked. Get 2 Lava Runner. Well, that'll do something next turn. So if I attack, they'll probably double block. I feel like that's still worth it because we're trying to affect their board. So we'll attack. Hopefully they only block with Run Frogmite. If they block with 2, they block with 2. Oh, they don't block with anything. Okay. So red, Searing Blaze. Who's our opponent? Who's the Esper Sentinel? They get to draw a card, which is unfortunate, but we get to take out their Esper Sentinel and put them to 15. So now if we start ripping Wraths off the top, that's quite good. You can go ahead and yield because we're tapped out. It's interesting to see Amulet of Vigor in this deck. Oh, Welding Jar, one turn too late. Shadow Spear, that's really bad. Oof. Soldier's Companion, and they use their last 2 to make a Frogmite big. So we need to find a Braid, and we need to find a Braid pretty quick. They're going to start gaining 3 life each turn. We draw an Arid Mesa. So I say we just go get a Mountain, and then we opt, and we see how screwed we are. Wizard's Lightning. Okay, so with the Soulscar Mage out, that's actually pretty okay. We'll go ahead and put out Get 2 Lava Runner, because that Welding Jar doesn't really do anything so long as Soulscar Mage is on the field. And hopefully they don't switch the Shadow Spear to Soldier's Companion, and we just get to blank their life gain for 1 turn. Okay, so they did switch it. I guess we can still kill it with Soulscar Mage. Okay, so they're tapped out as well. So we block with Soulscar Mage, and then we Wizard's Lightning it, making it a 2/2. Also, with the prowess on Soulscar Mage, that means the creature will just die. Or he'll regenerate it, which is fine. But now that thing is sufficiently shrunk, they only gain 2 life, and so long as we don't draw a land... That's unfortunate. Okay, so we're gonna take a pretty big hit next turn. We can't attack. Oof, okay. So you switch the Shadow Spear over to a Frogmite and then attack with a 3/3? Really? Okay, well, we'll just block that thing. He wants to waste his final Welding Jar, that's worth it. Xena Braids can kill the Shadow Spear. Yeah, he's smarter than that. We are losing life rather quickly, though. Because, like, now we need a Thunderous Wrath off the top to aim at a creature, which feels awful. Cinderwind, okay. So I think we just yield. Unfortunately, that Soldier's Companion is going to really chunk us something fierce next turn. And pretty much like all we're looking to do is try and come up with something to take out that Soldier's Companion. So she has to block there. We take 7, go to 3. Now what we need is a Expressive Iteration. I think that's the only thing that saves us. I don't think that does it. I don't think that does it at all. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the top 4, see if we could easel our way out of this. We could have, but unfortunately, that's the game. We lose this one in top deck mode. All right, so that's 5. I am enjoying myself with this deck, but I am aware that this is going to be an incredibly long video, so let's go to the wrap-up. Okay, so 5 games later, and quite a bit of tweaking from its original inception. What do I have to say about this deck? This deck is one of those that seems on the cusp of being able to be consistent, and I think a lot of its consistency comes from the fact that it has so much burn in it. You know, essentially it has 8 bolts. Because the Wizard's Lightning, so long as you have any one of your creatures on the field, You know, it's just another 4 copies of bolts, and that's an amazing amount of damage. Thunderous Wrath is bad if it's in your opening hand, and I was never able to find a logical place to put like Brainstone or something like that to try and put stuff from your hand back on top of your deck. But as is, it seems fine. You know, if you draw one in your opening hand, that's unfortunate, but it really does seem like the correct thing to do with Thunderous Wrath is just to play it if you top deck it, because taking a 4th out of somebody's life is always good. Now, we did run into a problem in some games because a lot of people these days with Urza Saga or with whatever happen to have access to life gain, specifically Shadow Spear, and that really hurts any deck that this is this kind of one-dimensional. This deck has one plan, and like you can kind of go off with Cinderwind. I think even, and this is unfortunate because it's the entire point of the deck, Cinderwind kind of is not good enough. You know, if this was a Modern Horizons 2 card, first of all, it would be a 3/3 flying haste for 3. It would give everything prowess, not just instant or sorcery, and on top of that, it would somehow draw you a card. But because it's not straight up broken, because it's from a era where stuff was a little bit more balanced, it does a little bit, but not a lot of bit. And also, Modern is so fast compared to when this was made that I was even kind of looking at Adelies here and wondering if it should be something else. But overall, the more I was playing this deck, the more fun I was having with it. And that, I think, is a good gauge of anything I play. There are definitely decks I do well with that I just hate every single moment of it. Like, there's too much thinking, there's too much this, there's too much that. This is the right amount of complexity for me. It can put up good numbers. It can also get stomped. So if you're looking for something that's like Izzet Blitz, but isn't just the same thing we've been seeing with Sprite Dragon and Stormwing Elemental and, you know, everything that's just become common in the Prowess deck, this is a nice little dip into the absolutely bonkers that I recommend you look into. All right, everybody, thanks for coming along for the ride. If you have a deck you would like me to look at, my email address is heydummyplaythis@gmail.com. I'll go ahead and put that in the description. I can't promise I'll play everything you send me, but I will absolutely take a look at it and see if I can find a way to do it within my weekly budget for these videos. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's always nice to see those numbers go up. And thank you very much for watching. I will catch you all next week for something hopefully as entertaining, if not something a little bit better on the field. All right, guys. Catch you next time.